Welcome back to Ride JBI. This is JB. Today we finished a suspension revalve on this 2003 Honda CR250R. This bike comes with the Showa 47mm twin chamber spring fork. This twin chamber spring fork, I believe it first came out in 1997 or 1998, right around when Honda first went to the aluminum frame. Since then, they made a few revisions, and this 2003 fork has seen a few updates internally compared to the original twin chamber closed cartridge spring fork that Showa released the years earlier. The main change or improvement that they did was they increased the size of the base valve and also the upper cartridge tank. So the base valve is what interacts with our compression clicker here at top. It is located in about this region of the fork. And again, what they did was they changed the diameter of it from 23 millimeters, it was about this big, to 30 millimeters. So it is about yay big now, so a lot larger. What that means is we have a larger volume of oil above our base piston or compression piston. We also can utilize a lot more shims on the compression piston because of its larger diameter. The oil has a lot more leverage over the shims because they are further away from the center, so it's easier for it to open. Now that's a good thing because using more shims allows us to have more options when it comes to tuning. On the older forks where the pistons were like 23 millimeters small or 23 millimeters in size, you could only use so many shims because if you used too many, the fork got way too stiff, too quick. So it really limited our tuning options. Now the mid valve on these forks is still the same 23 millimeter size mid valve. And it's still pretty close to what the original twin chamber forks had as well. And then over the years, Showa has definitely made a lot of improvements and changes. After these 47 mil forks, they came out with some 48 millimeter forks for a little while. Those were on the 2000, and off the top of my head, I think it's 2012, Honda CR250R is when they first came out, and they were very similar to the KYB 48 millimeter SSS forks. And then years later after that, in 2017, Showa came out with the 49 millimeter twin chamber. All right, that plane overhead has passed. And then years later in 2017, Showa and Honda debuted the 49 millimeter twin chamber spring fork on the Honda CRF450R. In another video, I'll do a little suspension history / evolution of the Showa suspension that has come on the Hondas. Anyhow, these 47 millimeter forks still work pretty damn well, especially for, I'm gonna say how old they are, but well, for how old they are. At Ride JBI, we revalve these to our Pro Moto setting. Now this rider is not a professional motocross racer, but that is how stiff he wants his suspension set up to be for his preferences and his type of riding. This rider rides a lot at the motocross track, but he also likes to go out and hit big jumps out in the hills or at some of his friends' houses. So because of that, we used some 0.49 fork springs inside of the forks. This rider is roughly 175 pounds. And then of course we updated the valving to our JBI Pro Moto spec. Sorry about the noise overhead. It seems like the airport above us is pretty busy today with planes taking off. What you cannot see on the inside is our titanium JBI leaf spring cup. What that does is it fits inside of our mid valve, which is located at about this region in the fork right now. And it updates the mid valve's configuration to what we call the leaf spring style mid valve. It is something that came out in, I think, 2012 on the Yamaha YZ450F, originally by KYB. And then they used it for about a year or two and stopped using it. And then they started using it again in 2018. It was pretty new in 2012, so I think they were still figuring out how to adapt it to these closed cartridge forks and get the best performance out of it. And again, it was still something new at that time, so a lot of testing and development was still to be had. And then when they came back out with it in 2018, they had proved how well that style of mid-valve can work. Taking notice to that, Ride JBI wanted to be able to utilize that same mid-valve configuration. So we created our own JBI titanium leaf spring washers for the mid-valve, and we sell those separately on our website. So for any tuners out there or just any do-it-yourselfer suspension guys that like to build their own suspension and create their own settings, these are for sale on our webpage. They don't come with any settings because it's just implied that you understand how to utilize that part and how you're going to implement it into your own suspension settings. The benefits of the leaf spring style mid-valve is it gives the fork some good hold up during aggressive riding, and it makes the fork much less susceptible to diving under heavy braking as well, all while maintaining a very comfortable and smooth feel. This rear shock was also revalved and resprung to our matching JBI Pro Moto setting. We utilized a 5.5 kilogram shock spring to match with our fork springs. We also utilizing our JBI black bumper. That is this piece here. You probably noticed many of the original bumpers turn yellow and get dry and hard over time. At Ride JBI, we're utilizing a very similar foam material as the OEM bumpers, but ours have a small additive of rubber. What that does is it turns the bumper black, as you can see here. It seals the bumper, so it makes it less likely to absorb moisture. And it also gives the bumper more UV protection, so it lasts longer in the sun and in the elements before it gets hard. And they're cheaper than the OEM bumper, so it's a win-win all around. These are also available at ridejbi.com. Ride JBI has been working with the Honda CR250Rs for goddamn almost 20 years now. And we got another plane going overhead, so we're gonna wait this one out. All right, Ride JBI has been working with these Honda CR250Rs, especially the aluminum frame ones. Okay, sorry, let me take that back. Especially the 2002 to 2007 models. Those are very popular models for the Honda CR250R. That's the last generation of that aluminum frame for that two-stroke. It is a highly sought after bike. We've had many years of testing, tuning, and developing many suspension settings for this suspension on that Honda CR250R. We've developed settings for all the different types of off-road riding, for motocross riding, arena cross, supercross, and freestyle. You don't see a lot of CR250s doing arena cross or supercross anymore, but you still see a fair amount of them doing motocross, off-road, and FMX. If you'd like Ride JBI to do your suspension, please give us a call or send us an email. We can discuss the year, make, and model bike that you have, which options are available, and which setup would work best for you. All JBI suspension services and parts can be found at ridejbi.com. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. I'm always happy to hear when people give us a call and say, hey, I saw you on YouTube. I like what you're saying. I'm interested in what you do. It's really fun linking up with people. So again, I appreciate you guys watching and taking interest. I'd love to help you out. So when you're ready, give us a shout or send us an email.